Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Note Investing Made Easier, the podcast show. I'm Martin Saenz, along with my partner, Shawn Muneio. Shawn, how are you today?
Another great day, Martin, for sure. It's a beautiful day. Can't
Y-
complain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great to be on this planet. It's great to be healthy. It's great to be moving and shaking. And before we kick it off, I just have a few announcements. We've gotten a lot of feedback regarding Las Vegas that some folks are just a little leery about, kind of going into the Vegas strip scene, so to speak. So we decided to move the next Note Investing Fundamentals Workshop to Sarasota, Florida, as well as the mastermind into downtown Sarasota as well. Now, Note Investing Fundamentals Workshop is for individuals looking to launch a successful note business. And so it gives you everything you need from that perspective. The mastermind is for existing note businesses that are looking to take their business to the next level. So, really, we cover a custom agenda whereby myself, Shawn, and the folks that are attending the mastermind, we all meet up beforehand and lay out the agenda that we all want to cover. So we're covering topics that are significant to all of us. So Sarasota Mastermind will be November 5th and 6th. The Note Investing Fundamentals Workshop is going to be 6th and 7th, and you can get more information on Note Investing Made Easier. So today we have a very special topic, managing the legal process. It's really amazing that a majority of your success in the note space will come through through the effort that's created from your legal partners, but that also serves as your largest expense for your business. So it's kind of like double-edged sword on that. So we want to just kind of first kick it off with how to find the right legal partners. So what would you say is a best first approach for doing that?
Martin, the legal partnership that you create is one of the most critical components of building a successful note business. And finding the right partners that work with you the best is a process. There's a lot of attorneys out there. A lot of attorneys want your resources. A lot of attorneys can help you. You need to find the attorney that aligns with your objectives, right? And I know that kind of goes without saying, but for us, we're always looking to work with the borrower to create value on both sides, right? We want to bring the borrower to the table and help them start making payments again, modify the loan, whatever we have to do to bring them back to the table. That attorney that you select needs to be of the same mindset, right? And that means that their fee structure has to be as such. A lot of attorneys will charge you every bit up front, whether you stop the legal process or you take it all the way to the end. And that really doesn't work for us. I mean, we're applying pressure through the legal team, and we're not going to pay $5,000 just to start the process. And if a week later we get a deal with the borrower, like, so sorry, that's not the partners that we want. We also want a legal team that is easily accessible, so our borrowers can validate with them that hey, what is going on here is it's real, and this is a real situation that needs to be solved for. So we want accessible. We want people who understand what our exit model is, and so that team that you hire, that you align with, has to align with the business objectives that you have. And finding those attorneys can be a challenge. And so I would say the first thing that you need to do is reach out to your peers to see who's had success with different attorneys in different states, and that's a good place to start. That's not where it ends.
So it's interesting because, you mentioned about understanding what your mission is for your organization, finding attorneys that align with that, and doing that through the referral network, through the community that you're cultivating for yourself. However, there's something equally important, and that is ensuring you understand the expectations of your legal partner, and that you are meeting what their expectations are. So if you kind of think about, the rawness of it, you want an attorney who's going to not overcharge you, who's going to charge fairly, and who's going to be responsive. That attorney wants a client that's going to pay their bills on time, right? and not give them, not haggle with them every second of every day, and it's just going to be easy to work for. And they also want someone that is organized, whereby when they need documents or they need to have files sent to them, they're going to have that done in a very efficient manner. So how best do you derive that scenario of where everyone wins, other than developing a kick-ass workflow for the whole process? So tell me about the workflow that we have in place.
Yeah. This workflow is a critical step in our organization, and especially as you grow. When you have just a handful of loans, it's probably not a big deal. You can kind of stay on top of it. But when your note portfolio grows, to 10, 20, 50, 100, 500 loans, right, you really need a process in place. And so for us, our process is it's really a paper trail internally with our team, whereby at different points along the legal process, there's checks and balances. There's a first step whereby we say, hey, do we want to send a demand letter to this borrower? And so there's a process that gets kicked off with all the information put in this task, and somebody with authority makes a decision that says, what, it does make sense. Let's move forward with this step. And so all the information is in there, all the details in there. We're creating paper trails around these decisions that are critical. And then for every step thereafter, there's a decision point. Hey, do we move forward with the formal complaint? And so that step is documented. All the details are grabbed. We're making sure that title has been ordered. We're reviewing title internally so that we're not forcing an attorney to review title, because that expertise needs to be in-house. And so for us, we're creating a paper trail for these decisions and why these decisions were being made, so that later we can come back and say, okay, why do we decide to do this? Well, here's the details all right here. This is why we decided. This is when we decided it. And then, when we stop legal on a file, that's also a critical decision point. Why do we decide to stop legal on this file? Here's all the detail. What did we decide? Here's how it was documented. And so every decision-making step along the way, from a legal perspective for us, as we grew to well over 500 loans, had to be a documented step, had to be, we had to understand that there was a decision made, here's why, so that it could be, part of the living and breathing, process for the loan. So that's a critical step for us to kind of document all those decision points along the way.
So decisions have financial ramifications, right? So you say yes, that leads to something, that a bill of some sort that way. You say no, that may lead to a note that gets dragged out and with no resolution. So decisions have financial consequences. So with that said, from a budget standpoint, if you have a strategic workflow taking place, then it should help you from a budgetary standpoint understand, the financial implications of each of the steps along the way with each note you have.
Absolutely. These are investments that you're making, right? And like anything, whether you're buying a property and rehabbing it, you're making decisions about how to improve it to create value, right? We're doing the same thing with a loan. The ultimate goal is to exit out. I mean, a loan sitting on the shelf not paying is not returning. Therefore, you need to put some resources in it to create some value. And so, just like a home, you could repaint it, you could, change the landscape, you could do all these things that you think are adding value to the asset. For us, we're adding value by applying pressure with our legal team, and what kind of pressure to apply and how much to spend on that pressure is a real part of the decision making. That's the strategy around working out the note. And so there's different types of pressure that can be applied. There's very expensive pressure where you come in with a hammer, a big expensive hammer, and there's a way to not apply as much pressure without spending a ton of money. So it all depends on the if you got a great deal on the loan and it's fully covered equity, maybe you don't care. But if you didn't get a great deal and you have to be very careful in the amount of money that you spend to get to your return, you need to be strategic about those decisions.
And not only that, your attorney partners will appreciate you having your stuff together and being organized, so that when they send you an invoice, you're able to cross-reference that invoice, reconcile it against what's been approved, what's been, what's part of your workflow process. And you're able to say, yeah, this needs to get paid, and you address it right away, right? Because, sometimes bills don't get paid because sometimes people aren't paying their bills, which is a bad thing. But sometimes bills don't get paid because the person getting billed doesn't understand fully what has occurred, and they don't have 100% confidence in what it is they're paying. So therefore it kind of sits and they procrastinate, right? So from a legal standpoint, from your partner standpoint, that this process, having your stuff together, helps them get paid in a timely manner.
Absolutely. And that's a critical piece of the partnership, right? If you're asking your legal team to do some work and you drag out paying them, that doesn't sound like a partnership to me. I mean, you need to pay them for the work that they did. As long as you approve that work and they did a good job, you should be paying them promptly. And again, if you have questions on the invoices, it could be complicated. You need to be asking questions. But I would also say most attorneys, when you hire them, they're sending you an engagement letter that kind of details the expenses that you should expect. Don't just glaze over that and sign it. You need to understand what that engagement letter says. And for us, when we authorize a step in the legal process, we tell our attorneys, listen, this is what you're authorized to do. Like, we're authorizing you to do X, Y, Z. And come back to us for approval if you need to take another step. And that's just a critical part of making sure that both parties are on the same page. That's when it flows the best, when it's clear what you're asking, it's clear what they want from you, and both parties move forward. The task gets completed really quickly. It's when there's a misunderstanding, that's when things delay, and billing issues pop up, and the partnership begins to fall apart.
It's interesting that my whole mindset has always been buying assets that I can control in the cash flow. So in this case, what's really fascinating about the non-performing note space is that you have to have total immersion and control over the asset before cash flows. So it's not just like you're buying, and it's not monitoring and cash flowing. It is control. So controlling is it entails not only that you start the legal process and kind of know that it's there, but that you're totally engaged with everything the attorney's doing. So when they file, when they have any kind of legal filings, you know, they send out the notice of demand, they send it out certified mail, you know, you have a tracking number, they file a complaint. What do you believe is the significance of like reading all those legal filings so you understand what's going on?
I agree with that strategy. You should really know what every single document that's being asked. Well, I mean, number one, you're having to sign these documents. So I'd recommend you read them before you sign them, because the information is part of a case, right? And so if you sign a document and there's information in there that you're not aware of, I mean, it's really on you. But yeah, I mean, every step of the way, you should understand what's going on, what these documents are for. You could call your attorney up and ask him to explain it all to you, but it's going to be on your dime. But you know, there's other ways for you to kind of research the steps for each state, and every state is different. Martin, you know, like they do things differently in California as they do in Illinois, right? The steps are different, and every state is different. So, you know, I wouldn't put it on your attorney and say, hey, you need to educate me on this process. I think you need to come with information, right? You need to become equipped. And if you have questions along the way, I'm sure they're there to help you, but it's going to be on your dime. But anyways, yeah, you should understand every step of the way. You should understand the documents you're signing, and you should build a task list whereby when a document gets sent out and it has an expiration and something is supposed to happen, you should know when that expiration happens. It should be set up as a task in your calendar, and you should be following up. Some of our attorneys are on top of it. They're following up before the task expires because they're anticipating it expiring and they're ready to move to the next level. Some attorneys, we have to say, hey, you know, by the way, that demand letter expired a week or two ago. We're ready to move forward. But we have to be on top of it, which means, again, back to your point, we have to have total immersion into the process, control wrapped around it, and be on top of our game.
You know, taking it from a pre-purchase standpoint, and we haven't really touched on that. We've just touched on it from an asset management perspective. What is the significance of engaging with your legal partners early, even at the pre-purchase standpoint?
For us, on certain trades, it's a make or break. Like, we may decide to buy these assets or not based on feedback we get from our legal team beforehand. It's a partnership too, because we've built such a great relationship with our attorneys that, hey guys, we're thinking about buying these assets. Here's the issues with them. You know, are you signing up to helping us work through these, you know, could be very sticky issues, right? Are you on board with it? Because once we buy these assets, we're going to push them over to you, and you're going to have to represent us on this. And so give us advice. And there's always gray areas in legal, right? I mean, you all over the board, there's no yes or no. We're like, should we buy these? They're like, well, you know, you should really think about this, this, and this. They're never going to tell you yes or no to buy an asset. They're going to say, here's the landmines. We can help you with those landmines, or you should stay away. You really should stay away. And that part is critical to making trade decisions for us.
And even especially, actually, not even especially, I think in any case, whether you're a seasoned note investor or someone just starting out, you should always consult with your legal partner to find out what you can and cannot do from a borrower outreach standpoint within that given state.
Yeah.
So, because laws are changing and, rules and regulations and so forth, everything's moving. So, you should really know. I see some folks on the newer side, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, you can't talk to any borrower in any state," because it's just, and it's better to be, overcautious. However, but it's even better than being overcautious is to really know what you can and cannot do. And so that's the best case scenario. So your attorney partners can help you understand that. But nobody's a charity business, right? No, attorneys are feeding their families just like you're trying to feed your families. So the thing is, you use them, right? I mean, you have to go and commit to using them for the whole process, not just for tapping them for free information.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, they're trying to make money just like you are, trying to feed their family, and they went to law school to learn. You're asking for information from them that they learned about, and therefore you're taking their time and should be compensated accordingly. Yeah, I agree.
And even, one other thing that comes to mind is that we have a policy here with our company whereby any borrower that's difficult, any on the non-performing side, because we do have, we do have RPLs, reperforming loans, as well as NPLs, non-performing loans. Any borrower that's difficult, with either they're being belligerent or just being overly aggressive, and they're in a non-performing state, we will go and have our attorney send a cease and desist letter and have all communication go through our attorney. And the borrower is going to have to pay for that. And that's just something that we feel like it protects us in many ways. I mean, I'm not even going to go into all the ways, but it protects you from a lot of undesirable outcomes. And so and your attorney will handle that, and they'll handle it according to what they can and cannot do. And it's just going to be an expense that's borne by the borrower.
Yeah, we talk to our borrowers like we would like to be talked to, right? And so, grace, compassion. We talk to them in such a way that we're proud of the conversations we have, and you will encounter borrowers who are just rude, nasty, like vulgar, like, oh, it's horrible. I've been on those calls before, and we don't expect our employees to take any of that abuse, nor would we ever give any abuse like that. I mean, that would just be absurd. And so, yeah, when you find that borrower who wants to treat you like that or your team like that, I mean, boom, it's a fast.
Yeah, no doubt. So great discussion on managing your legal partners. Post some comments below. If you have any questions, we'll follow up, after we're here talking, whether you're hearing this on YouTube or on our Note Investing Made Easier Facebook group. And if you haven't subscribed, you can get more videos at Note Investing Made Easier, the YouTube channel. And we will catch you there. One thing to clarify that I failed to mention is for the Sarasota Mastermind on November 5th and 6th, we're going to limit it to 10 note investors. And again, this is for people that are already currently note investors. And because what we're doing is we are going to build a custom agenda, and we're all just going to talk in a very transparent, open manner. So we're looking for people that can contribute to the discussion, and I look forward to that. It's kind of a next level kind of get together, and I think it'll be super awesome. But if you're on the newer side, there's a lot of good conferences you can go to. You can soak up information. But at the end of the day, if you need to put together a formal business approach, whereby you're covering all the nuances to get yourself started, then that is where you can attend the Note Investing Fundamentals workshop. Thank you for joining us today, and we will catch you next week.
Thanks, Mark.